Hello and welcome to round 6 of the World Magic Cup here in Amsterdam. I'm Brian David Marshall. I'm here with Luis Scott Vargas, and we are watching Team Austria, led by Thomas Holzinger there. You see him on your left, playing against Felipe Tapia Becerra, the national champion from Chile and the reigning Rookie of the Year.
And the possessor of a Cavern of Souls naming zombie and a diagraph goal. Which is a good start. I mean, the zombie deck is always, like most aggro decks, looking to start with a 1-drop, which he's got a full 8 of.
So Drolf's Messenger is, like pretty much a nightmare card for this stack, right?
Yeah, one of the reasons I think this matchup might favor Becerra is that Drolf's Messenger has always been a pretty huge problem for like the blue-white-red style of decks, and I've played against it a lot. More back when Zombies was popular, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, when I was playing Esper. But either way, the fact that it survives Supreme Verdict, comes back bigger, and is cheap, and also just directly damages you without attacking is a really hard thing to stop.
Yeah, and then you really see the Cavern of Souls doing some work here, making green mana for a Lotleth Troll.
Yeah, that is also pretty nice that he's got multicolored zombies, so he is Jund Zombies after all, so Cavern of Souls does a lot of work there.
Speaking of hard workers,
yeah.
Augur of Bolas.
Augur of Bolas, yeah, he's really what ties this whole blue-white-red deck together, and in fact, the 4 Augurs and 4 Restoration Angels really form the backbone of why this deck is becoming possibly the most played deck in Standard, if second only to Jund, depending on the field.
Right.
Looks like both decks are kind of doing exactly what they're designed to do. Blue-red stalling with Augur and Think Twice and hitting land drops. Zombies playing zombies.
Their plan seems much more straightforward.
It is, and they have a lot more redundant pieces, but the cards individually are a little less powerful than blue-reds, which is kind of the classic conundrum here.
Gets away the diagraph goal. Oh, and there we see.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
My. Yeah, that is pretty disgusting. This is one of the sweet combos in the deck with Lotleth Troll getting fueled by Grave Crawlers, which can then immediately come into play.
So he takes 4 from the Troll.
And looks like here come the Grave Crawlers.
Yeah, and mana up to regenerate the Troll.
Yeah, he's immune to Supreme Verdict now. This is exactly why the Zombies deck causes the blue-red deck trouble. Granted, this is one of the better starts they can possibly have, but the fact that this kind of start is possible is one of the reasons that I'd rather be on the Zombie side, despite Sphinx's Revelation being a pretty fun card to cast. Augur of Bolas is doing a little work, though.
Thomas is already down to 14.
He really does have to hope that Felipe does not have too much follow-up, but that looks like a Dreg Mangler. I mean, it's one of the versions that, the many versions of the card, but there aren't that many spells that cost 3 in his deck.
Yeah. And if it doesn't look like he's going to attack with everyone, it's only because he can't get all of his creatures into 2 hands.
Yeah, he has to go with the full double grip of creatures. His main consideration here has got to be Restoration Angel.
And that's what we're going to see. Oh, no, it looks like a War Leader's Helix.
Yeah, unfortunately for Holzinger, he does have War Leader's Helix, which is not exactly as good as Restoration Angel, because even though it does gain him 4 life, the Angel would have actually blocked and killed the Dreg Mangler if he was able to do that, and gotten a free blink off Augur.
Now he's playing into the Supreme Verdict that Holzinger is no doubt holding. Regenerate the Troll.
So
block the Mangler. Yep. That sounds like Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, this could be trouble. Holzinger actually had exactly what he needed here, and looks like Supreme Verdict is going to be a pretty nice slam. It is funny, though, that even though all the zombies did go to the graveyard, the Grave Crawlers come back fairly easily. The Dreg Mangler does have Scavenge, so Felipe is definitely not out of this yet.
A pair of Deathrite Shamans.
Yeah, this is an interesting addition to the deck. It looks like he's got two Deathrite Shamans main deck, and I would say they're mostly to disrupt Snapcaster Mage on Burial Rites, though I didn't expect a ton of junk Reanimator here. It's just too greedy for card slots. Because Team Unified Constructed does put some different constraints on you.
And another Supreme Verdict comes down.
Yeah, it looks like we've got kind of a slow start now that our post-verdict here, but a Lotleth Troll will help. He is keeping regeneration mana up, but I would suspect you'd want to bring back the grave crawlers here.
At least bring one back, right?
Yeah, one back is fairly safe, and I think he's got a land in hand. So that being said, I think playing the land, just bring back the 2 grave crawlers, does end up putting a little bit more pressure on him, because even though Thomas Holzinger's now at 10, it looks like he's planning on casting a nice big revelation.
Yeah, he's just planning on restocking.
Yeah, the revelation for 4 is tough to beat when you don't have a ton of pressure out, and that first Supreme Verdict did clear out most of the creatures. Oh, here they come. The pre-combat Gravecrawler is a good idea because if you get Azorius Charmed in the middle of combat, you want to be able to bring back your other Gravecrawlers. So you just need to bring back the one, just so if the troll does get removed, you can bring back the other one off the first one. Gravecrawlers do tend to feed more
Right,
Gravecrawlers.
you have a whole plan drawn up, and then suddenly your troll is on top of your deck.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
And your
that
Gravecrawlers are stranded in your graveyard.
stinks. Guards Holzinger's at 12.
That the smell of cards being snapped into your
Yeah,
hand. It's always pretty unfortunate when you're on the other side of the table from that.
Everyone who's wearing a blue lapel pin loves that sound.
Well, that
of
might be both of us.
Yeah, loves that sound of like 4 cards just being ripped and put into your hand.
Yeah, including one of the cool M14 additions to the deck, which is the 1 Mutable. You now have 3 different colorless lands you can play in the deck that are, well, actually 4. There's Desolate Lighthouse, Mutavault, Moorland Haunt, and Cavern of Souls. They're all very viable options. But it looks like Holzinger's going with 1 Mutavault and 1 Moorland Haunt as his 2 colorless slots.
Huh.
And there's no particular combos with Mutavault besides the fact that it's just a good value land. Sometimes you attack him for 2.
So it sounds like David Reitbauer, a Worlds finalist in 2009, is down a game against Roberto Castillo on the back table.
Yeah, Reitbauer actually beat me in Worlds 2007. I still remember it. He beat me in the finals of the first draft. He had an Acroma, and he actually just cast it in Time Spiral draft. So that was not great for me, as it turns out. Augur Bull, again, doing some work. It can't really block the Lotless Troll if Felipe decides to discard the Blood Artist in his hand, but it holds off Gravecrawler very efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you look back at this standard era, once we rotate out. I mean, like Augur Bolus has got to be one of the MVP candidates for the standard season.
For sure, the fact that it's played more than Snapcaster these days is pretty incredible.
And he's gonna
Scavenge up a Dreg.
Yeah, Dreg Mangler. Not something I was expecting to see at this event.
Yeah, and actually, despite that revelation, it looks like Holzinger is actually on the back foot here. He's got a Think Twice he can flashback, and he's got 2 counterspells in hand, but Felipe's deck is outstanding against counterspells. Not only does he have Cavern of Souls, he's got Scavenge cards and Gravecrawlers, so I would be pretty surprised if Holzinger didn't take out the vast majority of his counters in this matchup. And this is one of the uncounterable things that's going on, making a 5/4 Trampler that, at this point, he just has to hope Holzinger doesn't have Azorius Charm. So, I like the play here.
Chooses not to send in the Gravecrawler.
Holzinger's hoping for an Azorius Charm here.
It does not look like he found it.
Nope.
There you get a look at Captain Rookie.
Yeah, Captain Rookie is a nice shirt. Yeah, I watched these guys play one of their sealed runs as well as doing, just trying to get a sense of what was going on in the tournament,
right.
And they did very well in sealed.
Clearly.
Yeah. Holzinger picking up some more prime real estate here.
Just happy he's not playing against one of the Burning Earth guys.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Like this deck does not look like it has worried about Burning Earth. I mean, it just concedes to the fact that when they play it, it will concede.
Or take 6 and planar cleansing it away.
Yes, that is sometimes an option. That generally does not result in a win, though.
There's a Blood Artist.
Which, even though it's not an incredibly huge threat, it's pretty hard to get away from countering it. Looks like he's all right with it. I guess he figures that he needs an Azorius Charm to win this game.
Yeah, Holsinger just sort of nods as the Blood Artist gets played. He's like, okay.
One reason I think he might want to consider countering it is now he can't just block Gravecrawler with Augur and just get out of the situation there. And he's got double counterspell against an opponent with 2 cards in hand, now 1 card in hand. So
he has to hope for his opponent to draw really good cards.
The problem is that his opponent's really good cards are mostly zombies, and he's got Cavern of Souls in play. And then the second Cavern is actually on Vampire to make it so Falcon Wrath Aristocrat resolves. Oh, that would make it also the Blood Artist uncounterable.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense.
He goes to 3.
Yeah, he's...
And does he go to 2?
It is pretty unfortunate for him that the combo of Lotleth Troll and Dreg Mangler has made a fairly unstoppable machine here. Lotleth Troll is by far the best threat. Even though Geralt's Messenger is a little more efficient, just because it does 3 and you don't ever have to sink mana into it or discard cards to it, Lotleth Troll is the one that really just gets out of control.
And it plays into stuff that the deck does. It plays into the synergies of the deck, like the Gravecrawler.
Yeah.
The thing about this deck that seems a little risky to me is with Deathrite Shamans and Scavenging Muses running around.
Yeah. It is certainly a consideration that Scavenging Ooze is around, but you know Scavenging Ooze is one of the 3 decks only, so yeah. you can avoid that. And I think that this deck, he does have some nods to it with double Abrupt Decay and 3 Tragic Slips.
We'd like to thank Gaming Etc. for being an official card retailer here at Worlds Week. Use the promo code World Cup when ordering on GamingEtc.com to earn 10% off all singles and accessories. For more information, visit GamingEtc.com. So it sounds like we're going to move over and take a look at another match here. We're going to look at Manuel Danninger versus Rodrigo Lopez.
Yeah, and here we have another piece of evidence that Kibler has shaped the metagame as Danninger here is playing
a Kibler creator on the metagame.
Yeah, he's playing the red-green beats deck with Scavenging Oozes, Strangleroot Guys, Funhoof Boars, and then Hellrider, Goreclan Rampager, Thundermaw Hellkite, all powered by a bunch of elves.
Yeah, I love Goreclan Rampager.
Yeah, he does a lot of work. It's looks like the other deck in the matchup is our familiar friend of Blue-Eye Red Control, but.
Well, watching Joe Spanier play against that deck from the feature match area, like Goreclan Rampager just mauled a pair of Restoration Angels that would have otherwise been, that's just devastating.
By far the best answer in the format to Restoration Angel, because all of the removal spells, the normal ones, you end up killing the angel, but your creature still ends up getting blocked by Augur sometimes.
Right.
Whereas Goreclan Rampager lets you just trample over an Augur Bolus that got blinked. They just take the full amount if you want to just burn them.
Or trample over a Restoration Angel.
Or just kill the Restoration Angel and do a couple points of damage to them usually as well.
Yeah. In this case, Spanier was a little shaky and had to just play a Restoration Angel to eat something. It was just like, here's 3 2-power creatures. I'm going to attack with them.
It's kind of like a Searing Blaze. It just kills your angel and it deals you 4. So
players are looking at their hands.
Oh, nice. I like it. It looks like Rodrigo Lopez has 2 Azorius Guildgate in his deck. He wants to fix his mana something good. Guildgates have not seen a ton of play recently. Every now and then they pop up, so seeing the 2 Guildgates here is pretty cool. Actually, the Australian Jund deck has a Rakdos Guildgate. I was bugging Justin Chang about it since I've known him for quite some time, and I was looking through his deck, and I'm like, you have an interesting land in yours. Like, yeah, I know which land you're talking about.
So
there we have him.
Is that both of them?
Yep, that's both the Guildgates. Though I'm much more impressed by Manuel's lands. He's got the nice Beta Forest and Mountain there.
Yeah, and a Domri Raid which blanks, I guess, on the top of the deck.
Yeah, but still, a turn 2 Domri Raid is kind of what this deck's going for in this matchup.
And then a Virtual Gate.
Yeah, Glacial Fortress playing the part of Guildgates here.
The gates that keep on giving.
So even though Danninger has a lot of land in hand, just a Strangleroot Geist and the Elf as threats, the fact that Domri is kind of just sitting in play, not likely to go anywhere anytime soon, is a really big deal.
Okay.
This is also a reason why you don't really want to use Domri before attacking, because even though it didn't happen this turn, if you get Azorius Charmed, you want to attack first, because if you get Azorius Charmed, you +1 Domri and then just draw the creature right away. So, but it looks like Rodrigo would rather think twice and try to find an answer rather than cast an Azorius Charm, which isn't actually that effective against haste creatures like Strangleroot Hallowed Fountain also coming into play.
It's called the Time Walk Me deck.
Yeah, and even though he did draw a Sulfur Vents this turn, the fact that it's going to come into play tapped unless he's got Hallowed Fountain out there means he might as well just play the Hallowed Fountain. One reason to use Domri pre-combat, though, which you might just want to do in this case anyways, this deck has a ton of haste creatures. So last turn, he didn't do it, even though he does Strangleroot Geist. This turn, I think he's gonna play around Azorius Charm by attacking before using Domri. And that makes the prospect of Azorius Charming here a lot less exciting. It looks like Rodrigo is still in the tank about it. I mean, it's not really what you want to do. He might need to do it, but I think that maybe just going to 14 might end up working out.
Is there any point where you just think too long and you give away? You just tell your opponent what you have, and like, is it just better to just do it at some point?
Yeah, I think at this point he's already kind of done that, but I still think it's better for him not to do it. Like he did end up taking the damage. Even better would have... Oh yeah, that's a Thundermaw.
Well, it's better than a Thundermaw. It's a free Thundermaw.
Right.
An extra drawn Thundermaw.
Yeah, but for the Azorius Charm, even better than thinking about it and not doing it is just not thinking about it and not doing it. Like, kind of knowing just think on your turn, it's not quite as obvious because it looks like you're thinking about your next turn's play. So if you then play your land and say go, then just immediately take the damage, you conceal a little bit that you have the Azorius Charm here.
Pillar of Flame.
Yeah, Pillar Flame gets Strangleroot Geist pretty good. It is unfortunate for Rodrigo, though, that regardless of how well he controls Manuel's creatures, he is just going to die to that Domri ultimate eventually if he doesn't find a way to stop it. Once Domri has gone ultimate, giving all your creatures like Trample, Hexproof, Double Strike, and Haste is more than enough to finish the game.
And he just plays it out there.
Sending in only the Hellkite to play around Restoration Angel, is likely to get Azorius Charm this turn, and then get to pick it right back up with Domri Raid. Boop. It's a neat little sequence of events.
That's awesome. That's a great little synergy of the deck.
Yeah, and it's just like another way that Domri fights against the blue-white decks, which already has a lot of mileage there, but it, the extra does not hurt.
A once, easily dismissed Planeswalker. It turned out to be, a 3-mana Planeswalker with a powerful ability.
Yeah, it's been very impactful. Like in the control matchups, it draws extra cards. It's kind of like a Jace Beleren, whose ultimate comes very quickly.
Yeah.
And in the aggro matchups, I mean, making your 5/5s and 4/4s fight their 3/3s and 2/2s is a pretty big deal. And even though the red-green deck can't really afford to play Boros Reckoner, in decks with Boros Reckoner, like the Naya deck, it's even much more sick. Rodrigo having kind of the unfortunate choice of having to like main phase Snapcaster and maybe pillar the Domri to take it off of ultimate. Yep. And even though he was shortcutting for targeting Manuel, they know what's going on there.
It's like, no, you can't actually do that.
But still got a Thundermaw to deal with. Still got a Domri on 5.
Is that a Moreland Haunt he just played?
Yeah, he's got a Moreland Hunt, but nothing to feed it yet. Though that Snapcaster is waiting.
Yeah.
I feel like the extra credit from playing the beta lands does get you somewhere. He's got 15 beta lands in his deck. I'm just gonna assume that they're all beta because once you've seen this many, it's kind of hard to not finish out the job.
We were discussing the idea of premium damage last night during our draft. And
how does that work?
Well, it's like like all foils. You get to do a little bit more damage. Like maybe an extra third of a point per. So every 3 points you get an extra point of damage.
We should ask Guillermo Fotapa what he thinks of that idea. Him and his all foil decks in every format.
His decks don't do a lot of damage, though.
That's true. It wouldn't help him much, but he would still appreciate it.
He's like, I had 2/3 of a point.
So it looks like Manuel Danganer is poised to take this match fairly soon here. There are certainly sequences of draws that can get out of this, including this one. This is pretty nice. He's turning the Hellkite to a 0-1 attacker.
A turn, and that's really enough.
This puts Domri fairly close to getting killed, since even though it's going to go back up to 6 unless he wants to fight with Arbor Elf, and wisely choosing to go up to 6, Snapcaster gets to attack it, and if Rodrigo draws another burn spell, he could potentially knock Domri down a little lower.
But I imagine that Arbor Elf will gladly jump in the way.
Ready and willing to get in the way of the Snapcaster.
He's running alongside Domri's limousine.
Yeah.
Ready to take a bullet.
Yeah, he's ready to snap it off. As it looks like Rodrigo's got not the most exciting of hands for this particular.
A pair of mortars.
Yeah, though if Rodrigo's if the last card he's got is a Sphinx Revelation, then he's in okay shape. Yeah, I just see the 2 steam vents there, but if the Sphinx Revelation is there, then we've got a game. Looks like Austria's deciding here whether he wants to block with Arbor Elf. It seems like you'd want to keep Domri to threaten ultimate, but with 2 mortars in hand that you really want to kill, get some value out of, I could see wanting to just take it. It also gives Rodrigo the option to make a Moorland Haunt token, which isn't great for you. So it looks.
Sounds like Holzinger is down to 4 cards for game 2 on the front table.
Well, are they 4 really good cards? Because he's going to need them. Yeah, if that matchup was tough already. This is one of the classic tells in Blue-White Red, by the way. The 7th land, the Steam Vents come into play untapped. It's like every time your opponent does that, All right. Sphinx Revelation is certainly a big threat. So now Manuel's actually in the position of needing to hit something good, depending on what Rodrigo finds with Revelation.
And he did find...
Looks like another Thundermaw. All right. We got ourselves a deal, I guess.
He's like, do you want to make a Moorland token? Moorland token in response?
I would not recommend doing that, but...
you can always hope.
This leaves Daninger with a pair of Mizzy Mortars and a second Domri Raid, which is more useful now than it used to be, since now you can, even if the first one's still in play, you can use it, then play the second one, keep the second one, use the second one.
So Lopez goes back up to 15 and snaps off 4 cards. Looked a lot like lands.
Land and Think Twices. That was one of the least impressive Sphinx's revelations I've ever seen. I guess the Sphinx did not have much knowledge to reveal.
The Sphinx answers cryptically, if I remember the story correctly.
Whoa, and there goes a Wear Tear. All right.
Is that well, not a main deck Wear
No,
Tear.
this is a sideboard Wear Tear against the Burning Earths. So
it sounds like Reitbauer has evened up the match against Roberto Castillo.
With a Think Twice finding yet another land for Rodrigo Lopez. So at this point, Domri Raid is going to get to hit an ultimate, and you cannot Wear Tear the emblem, unfortunately.
Have you tried?
I haven't, but
yeah.
I have torn up the actual emblem when my opponent has it.
Yeah, he just scoops to the emblem.
Yeah, I guess he's just over it.
So at this level of play, like sometimes you're playing at the Friday Night Magic level, and you ultimate your Planeswalker, and your opponent scoop, and you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to do this. Do you ever have that experience at this level of play?
Rarely. Sometimes, like, you've assembled your combo, you're ready to go off, you're in control, and your opponent just scoops, and you feel this brief, momentary, like, pang of, man, I kind of wish we could still keep playing, but that doesn't actually happen here.
Magic 2014 is available now in Magic Online. Cracks and packs from M14 Booster Draft and Sealed Deck queues right now. Starting August 2nd, you can enter 64-player Premier Drafts and Top 8 Sealed Deck events to earn invitations to the Magic 2014 Release Events Championship to be played on August 18th. For more information, visit mitgo or mtgonline.com. There you see the Chilean team conferring.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to game 3 there in the deciding match. Let's see, take a look. The Holzinger's actually still playing. He's fighting back from his mulligan to 4.
Well, I mean, Augur of Bolus can be a pretty nice on mulligan.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly picks you up a couple cards here and there. It looks like an Azorius Charm there with that Mutavault maybe not not being able to stop the army of zombies here.
Yeah, the Drolf's Messenger is just and the Lotleth Troll.
Yeah. With a second Drolf's Messenger in hand, I think that
And it looks like there's a Caverns in play as well, so those are never going to be countered.
it is unlikely to happen. So, looks like a Drug Mangler might come out first. You just get the haste attacker in. So, slight life total discrepancy, possibly.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah. Looks like they finished it. So, unsurprisingly, the zombie deck's in the lead.
All right, Thomas Holzinger has a zombie of his own.
Yeah, he has a dragon. Mutavault, unfortunately, you can't activate Mutavault and cast Azorius Charm in the same combat, at least not with this set of lands. So he's going to have to decide which one he wants to do. Azorius Charm is pretty much your best tool against Lotleth Troll, but I think what he might want to do here is just, if he trades for a Drolf's Messenger, it does set up a Supreme Verdict a little better. Looks like Augur's suiciding itself in front of Dreg Mangler there.
See, he's hoping for the Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, he's got it ready in hand, but this is still not going to be a great position for him if this is what ends up happening. He's going to get rid of the Messenger and the Drug Mangler.
Right.
Lotleth Troll's still going to regenerate. You're going to be taking 2 this turn when the Messenger comes back from undying. So, and you're going to still have the Scavenge left, plus the whole grip of cards. I mean, turns out when you mulligan to 4,
Yeah.
it is tough.
I mean, it was tough when he started with 7 cards.
Yeah, I mean, they had a reasonable game. His whole plan went well. He cast the Revelation. So far, actually, we've seen both players who cast Revelations before not win. So maybe you should reevaluate.
Well, I mean, certainly in part because people are adjusting their decks to come in even lower against those control decks, right? Like, the green-red aggro deck is just coming in a lot harder. This deck is coming in a lot faster than Jund.
Yeah, I think that every deck's prepared to play against Revelation. It's a known factor at this point. It looks like Becerra's just actually going for the extra damage by just discarding a Lotleth Troll to a Lotleth Troll. Messenger not even leaving the battlefield, though. It did get a counter on it. Looks like Felipe paid 2 life on his Blood Crypt just to make sure Lotleth Troll would not die to anything untoward.
I would like to regenerate this twice if need be.
Yeah, if Holzinger casts Supreme Verdict, I mean, Becerra just actually kills him this turn. He doesn't necessarily know that because he doesn't have access to green, so I guess he could gamble on Felipe not having 2 creatures in hand, but passing with War Leader's Helix is a little bit safer. Either way, he's going to be hard-pressed to win this game.
Looks like he just drew a Liliana Veil.
Yeah, which is a nice little card going forward, though. I don't think its abilities might come into play here.
Yeah, I don't think it might come into play.
Yeah.
So Holzinger goes to 10, but he's taking...
Well, he's potentially just taking lethal, just discard a Lotleth Troll, and then deal 8, and then cast Gerald's Messenger. That was a smooth little move there. Be able to toss out the Messenger in the hand. I like it, I like it.
He's not the Rookie of the Year for nothing.
Yeah. All right, so...
See the coach sliding his chair over. Getting ready to help.
Yeah, I mean, it's all down to this match here.
Ultra Pro is the leading manufacturer of trading card games, sleeves, and deck boxes. If you're looking for official Magic the Gathering 2014 portfolios, card storage boxes, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats, Ultra Pro has you covered. For more information, visit wizards.com/magic merchandise. The players are getting themselves in position.
Yeah.
Prime birding position and coaching positions.
Yeah, I mean, this is this is the match to end all the matches. So you do need to support your team as best as you can.
Again, Austria came into this round at 4-0-1, and Chile at 4-1.
Yeah, so they're both playing for position tomorrow, which again, as I talked about with Sheldon last round, is extremely important. You don't want to be one of the bottom two people in your pod,
right?
Since the top two people have a much easier path, and the top person in your pod actually has the easiest. Right. So looks like we've got another red-green beatdown deck, but this time it's on the side of Chile here, with Austria piloting actually the black-red-white Aristocrats deck that Tom Martell used to win PT
Oh,
Gatecrash.
wow, nice.
I mean, it's got updates. It's got Zathor Necromancer.
There you see David Reitbauer. You see his career, 111 Pro points, 1 Pro Tour top 8, which was, of course, Worlds in 2009. He didn't quite get there the year he beat you with a Chroma.
He didn't.
61% win percentage at Grand Prix and a little bit above 50% at the Pro Tour.
So, a pretty good sample size, too, so. Flinthoof Boar staring down a Doom Traveler.
Here you look at Roberto Castillo. He is basically 4-4 at Grand Prix, and really has no other professional experience. He's not played in a Pro Tour.
So this is his potentially best performance to date here.
Yeah, I mean he's picked up points, right?
Yeah.
More than likely.
Oh yeah, I think that you are guaranteed points just by playing in the event, I believe.
Yeah.
So
gather the townsfolk.
The townsfolk have gathered. But still, there's a giant pig in their way.
Pigs, I've seen Deadwood. Pigs will eat a person.
Yep. And it looks like Roberto has one of his nice sideboard cards in hand, which is Bonfire of the Damned, which has got to be one of his most effective sideboard cards in the mirror here. Or rather, against the Aristocrats deck. Currently, they're debating between playing Domi Raid or something else, since Domi Raid is generally, I mean, you want to get your Planeswalkers out as soon as possible, but if you minus it, his opponent can't attack you. So it looks like he's going to clear the guys out of the way.
The poor Doom Traveler. He's like, not again. And then get in with the pig. There we go.
Look, I have to make an accurate sound effect as best as I can. That's how I imagine a Flinthoof Boar rolling into the red zone too, so.
I usually reserve that sound for the Zertar Swine.
Yeah, the Swine, but we're not going to see that till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which we will once we've got Gatecrash in the team sealed portion. This still leaves Roberto with a Domi Raid and a Strangleroot, guys. So he's got some good backup, and part of the reason he wanted to clear out all the tokens, though it did create a 1-1 flyer, is so Domi could come down and start dominating.
Yeah. Start a couple fights.
Yeah. Also, Bonfire is fairly effective before Zathor Necromancer comes out. You don't necessarily even want to Bonfire once they have a Zathor Necromancer.
Are you surprised to see him siding that card in then?
No, it's still pretty excellent, but it is definitely got some risks. Reitbauer with a pretty excellent sideboard career here himself, Duress, which you really only can side in if you kind of guess at what they side in.
Right.
You would not want to put it in the main deck against his Castillo's 7 spells. But now, given that he knows also Bonfires and potentially Flames of the Firebrand come in,
right,
then I think Duress is a good card to side in. Not the card you'd normally associate with a 30-creature red-green deck.
Team USA was running that main deck in their Jund deck.
Yeah,
and that seemed terrific.
It is good in the format, and you certainly want to have access to it in a lot of the decks that have black.
Well, and they determined that 2/3 of the time it was going to be good main deck.
Yeah. It looks like Reitbauer's interested in blocking here. I guess he's seen the Strangleroot guys, and he would rather just trade for it, since I can't imagine he would really want to chump Flinthoof Boar at 18. But Castillo's actually a kind of light on gas.
Yep.
Looks like
Tap him out like he's got something.
yeah, he's got Orzhov Charm to go ahead and deal with Flinthoof Boar there. Back in comes Strangrugeist. Well, Arbor Elf does mean that Castillo at least has a couple creatures in play, but he can't be feeling incredibly happy about this. Right, Bauer's still at a decent life total, and he doesn't really have a ton of pressure in play.
And so I'm not completely convinced by the way that Roberto Castillo is not actually Zane Beg in disguise.
Looks like the tokens deck has access to tokens. Doesn't have any of its really heavy hitters like Falconwrath Aristocrat or even the Zathra Necromancer, but Lingering Souls and Gather the Townsfolk do, put a bunch of blockers in the way. I like this, just playing the Lingering Souls, playing your land tap, not taking any damage, and then setting up next turn you could cast Lingering Souls and Gather the Townsfolk if you want. Oh, well, there we go.
Is that a Hell Rider?
Yeah, he's deciding what he wants to attack with. Since he's assuredly going to play an attack with the Hell Rider, he just has to decide whether it's joined by both his creatures or just the Arbor Elf. Potentially all three. It looks like, yeah, he's just...
Does it get you to 10, give you some difficult blocks?
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing about the red-green deck. He's got so many cards that can just turn around any board. Thundermaw would have been his best draw because it would have killed the tokens also. But just even a Hell Rider is still a giant beating here.
And even knowing that the Thundermaws are there, you have to keep the Lingering Souls in?
I think Lingering Souls is just too good of a card to not play. I would be surprised if you could afford to side them out.
Sure.
It's not always going to kill like 6 tokens. You generally don't want to overextend that much.
Right.
But having a couple tokens around is still good, especially if you have sack outlets. So their options here are either to trade for Arbor Elf and then chump one of the other creatures, or just double trade for a Stranglegeist, or just take the whole 6 damage and go to 4. One reason to do that, though, is it does let you Fateful Hour your Gather the Townsfolk. So you are interested in doing that. It's unfortunate that you end up at a low life total against a Hell Rider. It just means 4 attacked creatures and you're dead no matter what happens.
Right. There we see a Scourge deck High Priest and the Gather the Townsfolk.
Scourge deck High Priest is one of the kind of powerful engines of the deck. It's just got the 1 main and the 1 board, but I think this game it's probably not going to have a huge impact because Raidbauer's just looking to survive and not even really looking ahead to make demons or anything like that.
Yep.
As the search for tokens begins.
Fateful Hour, we didn't bring enough tokens.
All right, the old token plus die method is usually a good one.
I predict that good one will send judges scurrying over
for more tokens.
With tokens in a moment.
Yep.
I'm told that is exactly what's happening, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it does get a little harder when you want to split them up for blocks. So I certainly agree. But in a pinch, it does just fine. Castillo has a ton of draws that just straight up win him the game here. That is one of them.
You hear an exuberant Team Chile. He's like, oh, it was so good when you drew that second Hell Rider.
Yeah. Yeah, you just there's so many cards that just end the game. They're just like having the 8-pack of giant haste creatures. Also, a Gorkland Rampager probably would have done it.
Absolutely.
It's impossible, I think, there to survive.
Welcome back to the booth. I'm Brian David Marshall. I'm here with Luis Scott Vargas, and we just watched Team Chile go to 5-1 under the leadership of Rookie of the Year, Felipe Tapia Bechera.
And his pretty sweet Jund Zombie deck.
Yeah, that deck was awesome. Really just Dralf's Messenger and Cavernous Souls, and just actually kind of perfectly fell into place against the blue-white-red deck that just couldn't deal with it.
The combination of Lotleth Troll and Drolf's Messenger is kind of what you're looking for there, with Lifebane Zombie kind of to shore up the Jund matchup. So the fact that he drew a lot of Drolf's Messengers and Lotleth Trolls really contributed there.
And the Lifebane Zombie, on a Cavernous Souls can still also mess up your dream draw on the red-white. It still gets a Restoration Angel. You're like, well, I'll keep this hand, I'll Augur, I can block for a turn, then I'll get to Restoration Angel. And it's like you don't even get to counter it, right? They're just like Lifebane Zombie.
And it's unblockable against that deck.
Yeah, so just a nice little deck for this. Be interesting to see if that can propel them forward into the tournament and how that would play out on Sunday.
I haven't played with the deck since it's relatively under the radar, so I don't really know what its aggro matchup looks like. But I like the look of its control matchup, and the fact that it has those same threats plus Lifebane Zombies against Jund means that it might actually pair up pretty well against Jund, which is traditionally good against aggressive decks.
Right. And then what did you think of the? We'll talk a little bit about Brian Kibler's impact on these red green aggro decks.
I think there's two big reasons that his deck had an impact here. The first is that it's very good. It did well against Jund in the World Championship, and he likes his blue-red-white matchup with Burning Earth. And the second is that it doesn't necessarily take as many card slots as all the other decks. So despite the fact that it does steal Frank Carson's prize stomping grounds, but it's playing a lot of cards that other decks aren't going to want. So that makes it a very good choice for Team Unified Standard.
Okay, and then I would like to really get that kind of hole that that deck Kibler deck leaves as known as the Kibler crater with a K.
Yeah.
When he just impacts a metagame. So what are you looking for from this last round of Team Unified Standard? Do you think there's any surprises left?
We're certainly going to see a new range of decks. I mean, I know there are a lot of decks just from kind of watching people play that we haven't actually seen yet. Though most people are on the blue-red Jund and some kind of aggro deck matchup.
Well, let's send it back to the news desk, and then we'll come back later for the last round of Team Unified Standard.
Hey guys, welcome back to the News Desk. Marshall Cycleve with Zach Hill. Now, I've got a fun little feature that Zach and I are going to do in a few minutes. But first, some scores from our own Richard Hagan.
Hello everyone. Yes, welcome to the end of the News Desk. All the scores coming in. This is really a round where teams get eliminated. That's the important thing, because there's going to be so many teams in the mix. 4-2, 3-3, looking to see where they end up, whether any 3 and 4s are going to make it in, whether 4 and 3 is enough, depending where you had your 4th win. Quicker the better, remember. So let me tell you about some teams that are definitely out. As a result of the Netherlands winning, Spain are gone. Juan Carlos Adabo Diaz, Joe Calafel, who once went 6-0 on the first day of Worlds. That was Rome 2009. You will not see him on camera tomorrow because Spain are done. Also gone, Daniel Antonio. This is the Cyprus champion. He and his team are gone at the hands of Hong Kong. That's Li Shichan staying just about in the mix. But remember, they're coming from only 6 points now, so they're up to 3-3. So even if they get their 4th win, they'll have got there at the last possible minute here on this day. So that, we think, puts Cyprus out. Latvia are gone. Japan still, again, just about alive, but because they were, again, on only 6 points, they get to their 3rd win now, and that means they must win. Yuya Watanabe and co. They must win and then hope for tiebreak help. And the way tiebreaks work, the quicker you get there, the easier it is. And they have been behind the curve throughout. So still lots of work to do, and a little bit of just praying to the tiebreak gods. China, the 2009 world champions, they are done. Bo Li and team, they are gone. And that is because they have lost on 7 points to Serbia. Alexa Telerov here for what seems like the millionth time in team play. I think that's number 6 for him, technically. Serbia, as a result, go to 10 points. If they win, for sure they're in, because they will leapfrog all the 4 match wins on 12. They'll go up to 13 if they can win their deciding game. Argentina, huge story this. The Argentinians, they're all in their blue and white soccer shirts. They have put out the defending champions. Chinese Taipei, Su Qingguo, the door is over there, I'm afraid, because they stay on 7 points. 10 points will not be enough. Remember, top 32, that's above the top half. It's not even half the field, it's above half the field, and there is just no way that Chinese Taipei will make it in with a maximum of 10 points. That is the biggest casualty so far this round. But I'm going to go right up with one more result to the very, very top of the standings. USA were undefeated. You hear that were at 5-0? They played Ireland, who were also undefeated on 13 points, and by 2-1, it is Ireland who take the lead. Last time they were in the top 32 was in the days of John Larkin, 2002. Boy, they are putting it together when it matters. Undefeated, 16 points. USA, their first loss. Marshall, back to you.
All right, thanks, Rich. We're going to have more updates from Rich as we go through, but first, we're going to have some fun, Zach. So this is going to be a cool thing. Now, I'm known for love of a certain thing called a crack-a-pack. Now, I do it on my podcast. I do it as a learning tool for learning how to draft. And it turns out that Wizards of the Coast has rewarded me with my own holiday. All right, that might not be 100%
This is how you know you're
true.
big time.
Yeah. That might not be 100% true, but there is something that I'm going to announce, and it is International Crack-a-Pack Day, and it's today. Today is the day when you get to do a crack-a-pack like I do on the show, or however you like to do yourself. Now, it's part of the 20th anniversary celebration for Magic the Gathering. And what we want you to do is crack a pack with us. So wherever you're at, if you're at your F&M, if you're at home, wherever, crack a pack, and we want you to take a video of it, take a picture of it, tweet it at us, whatever it is, use the hashtag crack-a-pack. Crack a pack. Just that simple, and put it up on Twitter. And I assure you, everybody back home at the offices at Wizards of the Coast is watching this. Now, there's a few other things that I want to show as part of the promotion for International Crack-a-Pack Day. 2 codes that we have to unlock some kind of cool stuff in the world of Magic the Gathering. The first one unlocks 1 card in each base deck of the Magic 2014 Duels of the Planeswalkers game. And yeah, those are free cards that you get to unlock in there. Now, this one doesn't work for the iPad, but it works for all their programs. The code is RSNGSN. So that's the first one. The second one is for planeswalkerpoints.com. For those of you that like achievements on planeswalkerpoints.com, we've got a new one. It's called the Magic 20th Anniversary Booster Buster Achievement. And you can open this up. You can get that by putting in the code OPENEDPACK on planeswalkerpoints.com to get that achievement. But now, we get to crack a pack, Zach, so let's do it.
Yeah?
We're going to start with Modern Masters.
Tell me more.
Now, so the deal is, when I do this on the podcast, I do it from a drafter's perspective.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to open up a booster pack. I mean, ideally, it's the first pack of a draft, right? That's why we do it this way. There's a lot of different things, mini masters, whatever it may be. But since you and I are big drafters, we're going to do it like that. So we're going to open up this pack right now.
Delightful.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I
I'm
love
going to
this
let
part.
you handle the opening the wrapper.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not too good
Get
at
that new card
weakness
smell.
Wow.
All right, hey, look, I'm telling you, this is a way of life.
Hang out.
Yeah.
All right.
And what we're going to do is we're going to spread it on the table, and then we're going to approach it as if it was the first pack in a draft, and we're going to decide which card we'd pick. All right, the first card here is Frogmite, 2/2 with affinity for artifacts, costs 4 mana. And there's an Avian Changeling. By the way, we're doing Modern Masters, if you haven't noticed yet. One of the most popular and cool draft formats we've had recently.
Draft format.
Avian Changeling, kind of the glue for a lot of decks in the format. Right. It has Changeling and it's a 2/2 flyer for 3. There is a Vidalcan Dismisser right there. One of many high-end options in blue. There's also Aether Snipe in this set.
It's
Which one do you
a little
like
bit bigger
better?
than Aether Snipe, but it gives you a card because it puts it on top of your opponent's library, meaning they essentially skip their draw. On the other end, a 2/2 different from a 4/4, and it doesn't have Evoke.
That's right. All right, next card we have here is Skyreach Manta. Now this card goes in a pretty specific deck, usually revolving around Kodama's Reach and Search for Tomorrow.
You want to play it in a 5-color deck. It has Sunburst. That means for every color of mana you pay, it has another +1/+1 counter. So ideally, it's a 5/5 flyer for 5.
Yeah, in the right deck, that's what it is. Now, Traumatic Visions is next. That also goes in that deck. It can basic land cycle for 1 and a blue to help fix your mana, smooth out your draws, but it's also a hard counter at 5 mana. There is a Grape Shot here. Now, that one's probably not the best Storm card in the set. That honor goes to Empty the Warrens.
Right, but it does have Storm. It can deal a lot of damage. More importantly, it can deal damage divided over multiple targets.
Right. Next, we've got Fury Charm, a versatile instant, though doesn't always make the main deck.
Right, I mean, it blows up artifacts, it can tick down things off suspend, it's a little bit of a combat trick. A lot of the time, though, you're going to want to bring it out of your sideboard for specific problems.
Right, Raven's Crime. This is a piece of a tough puzzle to put together. The dredge deck in the format, not easy to get. If you do get it, though, it's actually pretty sweet. We saw Yuya Watanabe actually first pick a Worm Harvest,
right.
yeah, in an attempt to make dredge. It didn't work out for him during that draft, but Raven's Crime, a piece of that puzzle.
Totally.
Next, we've got Sporoloth Ancient. Sporoloth Ancient is sort of a two-part card. It's a 4/4 for 5, which is reasonable.
Right, yeah.
Perhaps not exciting in a world of Imperiosaur.
Sure.
But it's pretty good, and then it also helps you out by making a whole bunch of Saproling tokens.
Exactly.
Next, we've got Saltfield Recluse. Now, I note right here, it says Rebel on it. Zach, what does that mean?
A Rebel means there are certain cards, there's Emerald Scout, there's Blight Seekers, a couple others that can actually search creatures directly out of your deck. Those creatures are called Rebels, and he is a Rebel. So you can get the card at the end of the turn, untap, and start shrinking creatures for the rest of the game.
All right, next we've got an uncommon. This is a card that I like quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's Mad Auntie.
Mad Auntie.
Yeah, she's very angry at you, but she loves her goblins.
She does.
Yeah, she gives all other goblins you control
Right.
+1/+1 and taps to regenerate another target
Exactly.
goblin. That's the one I've got my eye on right now, by the way. Just a
Okay.
little
All right.
little
All right.
preview there.
Spoiler alert, you're killing me, Marshall.
Yeah. Now this next one is like kind of just like a much better version
Yeah.
of this Sporoloth Ancient in a lot of ways. Spore Thallid, 4/4, same power and toughness, costs some mana cheaper, has a totally relevant ability in that deck.
Exactly.
Next we've got Death Rattle. This is our last uncommon. Death Rattle, solid removal spell. Instant speed, you can make it cheaper through Delve, and it destroys a lot of the threats that you care about.
But it does not destroy green creatures such as Sporoloth Ancient and Sporosaur Thallid.
That's right. Now we've got, well, of course we've got a foil, so I'll start with that before
All right.
our
Sick
rare.
Life.
Yes,
Yeah.
and our foil is a Hillcomber Giant. Respectable body, really good in the, really at home in the Giants deck, not so much in other decks.
Right, it's a 3/3 giant. What you really care about it for is that it's a 4-mana giant, which curves nicely into Thundercloud Shaman, which of course is a 5-mana 4/4 that deals damage to everything that's not a giant for each giant you have.
Yeah.
So relevantly, it's a 3/3 Mountain Walk, but it's a giant that you can play early in the game.
That's right. Now we've got a rare here.
Oh, we do? Is it spicy?
It's somewhat spicy. It's sideboard spicy. It's Kataki's War's Wage.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a spicy one to first pick. You can definitely get this card back on the wheel a lot of times in this format. Now, if you happen to face the Artifacts deck, you'll be
Obviously,
really happy
really
you
good.
have this one.
All
All right, so now we've got the whole pack laid out. I know what I'm taking. What do you like here,
Okay,
Zach?
so well, now that we've spent a ton of time reading cards,
Yes.
we can go into the analysis. So, in this format, one thing about Modern Masters is you're always thinking about what archetype you want to draft. There's several different linear strategies that can be really, really effective if you get the deck. You can also, though, just play removal spells and creatures and kill your opponent the old-fashioned way.
The good old-fashioned way.
Right. So when I'm coming into this pack, there are 3 cards that really stand out to me personally. Those are the Mad Auntie and the Death Rattle and the Sporosaur Thallid. I'm also paying attention to Sporoloth Ancient, but like you said, it's a little bit worse than Sporosaur Thallid. I really like Grape Shot, but I don't want to first pick it.
I see.
And then Avian Changeling is kind of the glue that holds a lot of decks together, and it's so versatile that I first picked it before.
Yeah.
In this pack, though, I'm tempted by the Auntie, but I don't want to commit to a linear earlier on. I think I'm going to take the Sporosaur Thallid. In the Thallid deck, it accelerates your entire deck, allows you to make creatures a lot more rapidly. It's a 4/4 with an ability by itself for 4.
Right.
And even if I don't play any more Thallids, I'm probably going to play that card just because it's good.
Yes.
So it keeps me, it's a nice mix between staying open, picking powerful cards. So I think I go for Sporosaur Thallid.
Yeah, now I have no fear of commitment here,
Okay.
Zach. I
do
taking
fear commitment,
Mad
generally
Auntie,
speaking.
generally
Okay.
speaking, and I am going to take Mad Auntie. I'm moving in on goblins.
right.
Now, and the reason I have a reason for it.
You do.
I think it's a powerful deck.
Okay.
And I think Mad Auntie is one of, if not the best card in the deck. Now, so that's fine. The thing I love about Modern Masters, though, is that even if you commit some early picks to an archetype and it doesn't work out, you're okay. You still have enough playables to make a deck. It's not like you said, well, I went for it, I didn't get there, and now my whole draft is ruined. It doesn't work like that in Modern Masters. You can actually come out of it with some decent stuff. Now, I can definitely see what you were saying as Mad Auntie on its own. not much of a
too
card.
exciting.
Yeah, it
No.
really does need a lot of goblins.
Now, tell me, are you not a little bit afraid of passing this Death Rattle here as one of the best cards and getting cut off for black in pack 2?
Yes, I am. This is definitely a concern, though Death Rattle does go into quite a few different decks, including like the Fairies deck is
Sure.
one that really likes the Death Rattle because those big green creatures on the ground are pretty pesky for Fairies when you're attacking with, you know, Pester Mites and that kind of thing.
What, it can't
Big
kill a
non-green
green-
creatures, yeah, sorry. You
was
gave me a
well,
look and
it
I'm
is.
like, did I just say green?
That's really good. I'd like any other card in the universe.
Yes.
except for- oh, okay.
You're right. But anyway, this is definitely a concern, but I think that there's a lot of overlap here. If you're taking the Thallid, you're also passing the Swirloth Ancient, which
Makes
is
sense.
a similar card. Another option that I would consider is taking Traumatic Visions and trying to wheel Skyreach Manta, but I think there's more powerful options in here, and I just wouldn't need to do it.
And you don't think you'd first pick the Skyreach mana? I know a lot of 5-color drafters think 5-color is the best archetype, and Skyreach mana is one of the most powerful cards in it.
I like to try to have the baseline set first with the mana fixing and then
Gotcha.
fill it out with the other stuff because you can go a lot of different directions from the mana fixing angle. And yeah, I mean, you're going to need the threats down the line, but if that thing comes back, remember, this is pack 1. I know that it's open then.
Makes total sense.
All right, what do you think about opening this one now?
I'm all about opening packs.
All right, so let's do it again. We got another Crack-a-Pack
Man,
lined up
so
for you.
exciting.
Yes, this is fun. This is kind of fun getting to do it on the
I was
air
going to say,
live
yeah,
with you as
how
well.
is it that we just get to make this a
Yeah.
feature? Yeah, we do this anyway.
We
We're
do
gonna
feel
keep
lucky.
doing this when the camera comes on.
Absolutely. All right, so I've got Magic Core Set 2014 Core Set for you here. Now, these are some of the packs that we saw already in the World Championship, and so we're going to be bringing you a little bit of this here.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm not going to. Some people look right to the back of the pack.
No,
I don't do that. We're
I
not
need
doing
the
that.
suspense. This
Yeah.
is important to me as a human being.
I mean, I'm not saying I've never done it, but we're not doing it here. All right, Angelic Wall's our first one, so it's an 0/4 with flying for 1 and a white. And then we've got a Blood Baron. This is a card that we've seen a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. It's a 2/2 that you can sacrifice another creature to give it +2/+2 until end of turn. Smelt, sideboard
Kills
card
an
destroys an
artifact.
artifact. Yep.
Pretty simple.
Hunt the Weak, kind of a removal spell in green, puts a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, and then it fights another target creature. Another more sideboard card with Demolish here. Uh-oh, Zach.
Pacifism.
We found a Pacifism. I love that card. Basically cheap, nearly unconditional removal, though it doesn't actually take it off the board, which can come up sometimes.
Unconditional except for all the conditions. that,
Right. Fortify, a pump spell on either power or toughness. Good with you have a ton of small creatures. Elvish Mystic. Now that yeah, I saw your eyebrows go up at that one. That one.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So a Llanowar Elf type card. There's Shrivel. Gives all creatures -1/-1. Not a great magic card in this particular set, but it does kill Coral Merfolk.
I was going to say, it's good against the creatures to its right and left.
Yes, it is.
There you go. That's how you metagame.
We'll have to respect it there. Now we're into the uncommons here.
Awesome.
And we've got a 9 zombie. Now, 9 zombie is a 1/3 for 2 that you can pay 1 and a black to sacrifice any creature to drain your opponent for 1. They lose life. You
Yeah.
gain a life. Now that I see that we've already got 2 sacrifice outlets here. Something that we'll talk about in a minute. Ooh, I like this next card quite a bit. Water Servant. 3/4 for 4 mana. You can pay a blue to give it +1/-1 or -1/+1.
Right.
So you can mess with its power and toughness for as much mana as you have. This is the kind of card I like. We'll talk about that in a minute, Zach.
Oh, okay. All right. Here it is.
Send
There
Vampire.
it is.
Only fitting that we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Magic with a Crack-a-Pack that we open a card that's been around for the duration. Send Vampire 4/4 flying for 5 with an ability that in theory has never actually been
Right.
activated.
Right. That it comes up, I guess, if like Messenger Drake has to chump block in the set or something.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and we've got a rare here. It's Door of Destinies. Kind of a complicated card, lots of text on it, but basically it rewards you for being a linear tribal type deck.
Exactly. The more of one creature type you have, the bigger those creatures get.
All right, Zach, so walk us through a little bit about what Zach Hill thinks when he sees this pack fanned out in front of him.
Well, my first thought when I saw the bottom 5 commons is that this is not too great of a pack.
Yes.
The only card that I mean, Hunt the Weak is okay.
It is.
It's kind of awkward to start out with. You don't really know if you're going to have enough size to make use. It's still going to play it, but it's not going to be wonderful. Blood Baron, good, but a card you want to get a little bit later. When I saw the Pacifism, though, it started to say, okay, like, look, this is probably the clear winner. Fortify, solid, but something, again, you want to deck for. Elvish Mystic, good, but not a first pick. Shrivel, kind of bad. Coral Merfolk, kind of bad. But then we get to the uncommons.
Yeah, this is where we see a power bump a lot of times.
Yeah, and then that's sort of how that's how you design a Magic set. You obviously,
Well, you would know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I've never designed a Magic set. Yeah.
Uncommons tend to be a little bit more powerful.
Sure.
They go earlier so that, the commons go around later, and that's where you seed your archetypes in limited. So Gnawing Zombie, extremely good card in my opinion. It's a 2-mana 1/3, which actually what the deck that plays it kind of wants to do, be able to blunt an early assault, gives you some range, has a lot of synergy in the format. Water Servant, really an incredible card. Already
It's really good.
It's a 3/4 for 4, and then you say, okay, switching up its power and toughness, what difference does that make? You're not really getting ahead, but the thing is, you are. Right?
Yes.
Like paying 1 mana to have a lot of different options. It can attack for 6. Really good if you put an enchantment on it. Can block essentially anything. But then, of course, Singer Vampire hits the table.
the
You
big
just
boy.
know what you're going to take. Not only is it a 4/4 flyer for 5, which you always first pick anyway. It has an ability, and the black in this pack is really unexciting.
Right.
So normally you don't have to worry that much about what you're fighting with the person to your left on anyway. But in this case, the clear second best card is Pacifism. You're going to send your neighbor into white. Going to have some black open to you. I think it's a pretty clear pick.
Now, so for you, it's pretty easily in the Sengir Vampire camp. Now, man, I love this card, Zach.
It's really good.
Can I talk you out of Sengir Vampire and
try.
move you over to Pacifism,
I will
or
not
is that going to
stop
be tough?
listening to you.
Now, the way I want to approach this is, so if these are the 2 cards that we're considering, and they are,
Yeah.
our rare is not a card that we're going to play
I
in
don't
limited
think
very
so.
often. And like you mentioned, I really love Water Servant, and I think Elvish Mystic's very, very good as well. But these cards really do stand alone from the pack. How much is the color consideration here? Like, when you look at it, are you like, oh, I actually want to be in black in this format more than I want to be in white, so then it's a no-brainer? What if white was the better color in the format and black maybe wasn't so great, even though you clearly think Sengir Vampire is a much better card? It's a threat, it also blocks and all those things. Would that ever sway you over? Like, are we talking tiebreaker level, or do you think Sengir's that much higher?
Well, there are definitely times, like Doomblade is a card that I frequently take over powerful uncommons. Back when Doomblade was a common, now it's a powerful uncommon.
Yes, it is
the
upgraded.
Thing about pacifism, white is probably the least powerful color in Magic 2014 Limited. But the thing that actually puts it over the top for me is that blue is probably the strongest color.
Yes.
Meaning there's a lot of quality answers to pacifism. You can either disperse it and get a block out of it. You can disperse your creature and the pacifism dies. And that's another consideration. Definitely like double black versus single white. You might splash a pacifism. That's clearly a consideration. But in Magic 2014, the mana fixing is actually not that exciting. I really don't like to be splashing in this format if I can help it. In particular if I'm not green. So I'm disinclined to splash more in this format, meaning I'm actually more inclined to commit to a color.
I see.
And when you have a card as good as Sengir Vampire, it's not too difficult to make that decision.
Yeah, and I actually would take Sengir Vampire as well. I think that just from a general philosophical perspective, I think it's a better card as well, as it often does a lot of the duty that pacifism does itself.
Right.
It blocks very well, it'll keep a lot of things down, and that's what pacifism does. And by the way, it also attacks in the air and kills your opponent, which is a great thing. All right, so let's go. Why don't we pass it over to Rich for a minute? He's got some score updates. When we come back, we'll probably be cracking some more packs for you.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Crack a pack. I think you're having a lot more fun than I am. There's just information overload over here. I'm going to try and give you, if it's your country you're concerned about and you think, are we out, are we in? I'm going to try and give you the rundown. It goes something like this. Wales, Romania, Lithuania, Dominican Republic, Bulgaria, South Korea, Canada, Costa Rica, Uruguay, Guatemala, Indonesia, Italy, Portugal, Puerto Rico out before this round began. That's 14 gone. That leaves you with 57. Magic number today, 32. Then you start with all the players that were on 2 wins coming into this round, so the winner knocks the other out. That means Macedonia knocked out Denmark, the Netherlands knocked out Spain, Bolivia knocked out the Russian Federation. Huge result just come in. Ecuador have knocked out Switzerland, the 2017 world champions. Nico Boni, Manuel Bucher and co. from 2007. Switzerland will not be joining them this year. Andy Ganson team are done. Hong Kong have knocked out Cyprus. Daniel Antonio, you knew about that one. Now, a match that's still going on with huge local implications. Scandinavia, Norway versus Sweden. Sweden, remember, had a desperate start. This is the team, the pre-tournament favourites. Ola Rada, Elias Watsfeld, Joel Larsen, Joachim Alberg. That was a terrific lineup, but they struggled right out of the gate, and they are still locked in combat, still don't have that result in for you. So we're waiting to see who knocks the other one out. Scotland, still alive. They've knocked out Colombia, but Colombia, by the way, are winners because they are one of the 3 winners of the Spirit Award here. 3 teams were awarded prizes by Wizards of the Coast for, well, services to humanity, one might say. In the case of Colombia, phenomenal outfits, shirts, hats, just great. Everyone had a good time with them. Well done to them. Malaysia, similarly, terrific outfit. You knew exactly who they were. They wore the shirt with pride. And then the 3rd Spirit Award went to Canada. Now, they've had a desperate time on the field, so to speak, but off the field, a really touching story this. One of the Canadian players had a terrible accident a couple of weeks ago, and their house actually burned to the ground, which is not really what you would call ideal preparation for the biggest Magic event of your life. Not actually that great for your life either, I think we can all agree. So you would think, okay, maybe he just says, I can't possibly play in this. I can't, you know, look, my life's in tatters. Canada, you really do have a fantastic community, and the Spirit Award belongs not just to the team here, but to all of you back at home, spread right across that vast swathe of your wonderful country. Because Team Canada, the real global, if you like, Team Canada, got together and said, we are going to make sure that yes, something really bad has happened here, but we are going to get you to your seat at the World Magic Cup. We are going to take care of you. We're going to look after you. They raised some money. They put some stuff together for him. And that is a terrific story of a community coming together and saying, you wear that maple leaf with pride for us. We are going to take care of you at a very difficult time. So the Spirit Award goes to those 3 nations. Let's wind on up the field. Still didn't do great, Canada, though. They are gone, as I say. Japan eliminate Latvia. Andre Prost, the national champion there, they're gone. The Philippines are out. Serbia have knocked out the 2009 world champions, China. Chinese Taipei, the defending champs, they're gone at the hands of Argentina, who are still alive. Now we get to the teams that were on 3 wins coming in. So the winner here, we think, is very close to going through. The loser has to win their last round and hope that they're going to get somewhere. So Greece defeat Panama. The Slovak Republic, even flock over Slovenia. What a local clash that will have been. Robin Dolar, the Slovenian national champion. Luxembourg, big round of applause for them. Steve Hatto, the smallest nation here, I reckon they're into day 2. Steve Hatto and friends, they beat Japan on camera right back at the start of the day. They have made the most of that. Looks to me like they're through. Ukraine, Mike Krasnitsky, the leader there, have some work to do. New Zealand over El Salvador. I think New Zealand, Walker McMurdo and Jason Chung, they are going to be through. Belgium have lost to Estonia, Hannes Karem. They advance. Belgium, Vincent Leroy, Moraine Libert, they have work to do in this next round. Now what about Shahar Shenhar going for the double, the pinnacle, the 5 days and the dual world titles? Well, he has to win and pray because Israel have lost this last round. South Africa, terrific performance by them. You don't often see them embarking into day 2. This team look like they're going to do it. Finland are into day 2, we think, with 4 wins already. So well done to them. Result that will please neither side now. Brazil against England was a 1-1-1 draw. In the end, Eduardo Sajkalik, the national champion for England, up against Alison Abe for Brazil. They could not get game 3 done. You see quite a lot of these blue, red, white flash mirrors not getting things done. Lots of draws around, and watch out for how that alters the standings as we come down the stretch. We're into the top 10 matches now. Germany losing out to Venezuela, but that puts Venezuela, we think, into day 2. Croatia over Peru. Turkey and Belarus, they couldn't find a winner. More blue, white, red flash mirrors there. Really strange result from table 6. Australia and Iceland, they ID'd. They decided not to play. What was that about? Hard to see how that can be what they needed to do, because seeding is so important next time when they come back tomorrow. Watch out for what that implication is. I cannot explain that to you. Just Can't explain it, so I won't try. France, they beat Hungary. Mexico, they beat Thailand. Now we're into the realm where teams are already into day 2 because they got to their 4 wins so early. Now they're jockeying for seeding position. Singapore have beaten the Czech Republic. Stanislav Sivka and co fall to 4-2. Singapore up to 5-1. Chile have defeated Austria, Reitbau and Holzinger. And table 1, as we said earlier on, Ireland have defeated the United States. Ireland lead going into the final round. Marshall, it's back to you and time to crack just one more pack.
All right, thanks, Rich, for the updates. Lots of stuff coming in there. I want to remind you guys about the International Crack-A-Pack Day promos that are happening here. First things first, on Twitter, hashtag Crack-A-Pack. It makes sense. And then there's 2 codes to use here, and I want to make sure that I get those out there for the people that missed them on the first run. The first one unlocks 2 cards in each base deck, a card in each of the 2 base decks on Magic 2014 Duels of the Planeswalkers. Now, this will not work on the iPad, but it's RSN GSN to unlock those 2 cards. The other one is on planeswalkerpoints.com. You can go there and unlock an achievement. It's called the Magic 20th Anniversary Booster Buster Achievement. Aren't you going to get out your laptop and start punching in?
Later. I don't want to interrupt you, Mark.
Okay.
I'll let you interrupt yourself.
The code is opened pack for that, Zach. If you want to find that later to get your. I've seen you do that to get your achievement. All right. Looks like we can open up another pack here as we as players are. They're going to get seated. We're going to get that sorted out. But let's get another pack in real quick because that's what we like to do.
High quality Magic set Dragon's Maze.
Yeah, designed by
Alexis Jansen, led developed by someone.
There we go. All right, Riot Piker's the first one. A very aggressive red 2/1 with first strike that has a pretty strong downside. It's got to attack every turn.
Yeah, it's just playing correctly.
We've got a Drown in Filth. There's one of the Ubul-Sar Gatekeepers. One of the better Gatekeepers is it gives -2/2. We see Cluestones around quite a bit in this format. Boros Mastiff, Riot Control. Ooh, Punish the Enemy.
Yeah.
This is one that I like quite a bit. Deputy of Acquittals, pretty good card. Another Cluestone to go along with the other one. There's a Crypt Incursion. That's not going to make the cut. Feral Animist, also not. Unflinching Courage, one of the better auras that we've ever seen. It's a reprint might be a strong word, but functional reprint. And there's our rare. It's Sire of Insanity. We, of course, get, since this is Dragon's Maze, it's a unique. We get a Guild Gate in every pack at least. What do you like out of these cards real quick, Zach?
So normally my strategy going into Dragon's Maze and DGM Gate Crash, Return to Ravnica Draft, I really like to pick a strong gold card early.
Okay.
Try and force like a 2-color aggressive deck, maybe splash 1 color, maybe pick up some mana fixing. And if I can't do that, I'll ease out into a more mid-range deck. Sometimes I take mana fixing first. Sometimes I'll say, okay, I'm going to draft 5 color, and sometimes you get a powerful rare. In this pack, the cards that I'm looking at are Unflinching Courage right here, Gruul Guildgate right here, Deputy of Acquittals fits the kind of pretty good 2-color card deal, and Ubul-Sar Gatekeepers, which is my favorite card to have in a 5-color deck.
Oh, it's such a good one for that deck.
It's just extremely good. It's a 2-for-1, it's a piece of removal, etc. But and then Punish the Enemy, obviously just a quality, solid removal spell.
Yes.
I know plenty of people I respect would take this card, Punish the Enemy, and try to stay open.
Yes.
I think that's a viable strategy. It's just not the way I play. I like to play a high risk, high reward, and try and mitigate using the mana fixing that's available later. So if it were me, I'd be taking Unflinching Courage. That type of effect has always been one of the most powerful effects in Limited.
Yeah.
If they can't answer it, they almost always just lose to it. It fits right into a good aggressive Celestia deck, or even a 3-color Naya deck, or even a Boros deck on a splash, Gruul on the splash, and green has a lot of easy ways to splash in this format. So I think I go Unflinching Courage.
Yeah, now I take a little bit of a different approach than you do, Zach. I am of that second camp where I will take a single color card unless there's a card that just I cannot fathom passing. And so my eye immediately went to the Punish the Enemy as my pick. It keeps me open. You mentioned it, Zach, very solid removal spell that does damage to the player too, which in an aggressive deck really adds up quickly. Ultimately, though, we actually fall on the same card. I'm taking Unflinching Courage as well because it actually falls in that category of a card that I just cannot imagine passing because of the things you said. Now, I'm somebody, I don't love an aura. I will generally try to stay away from creature auras that are targeting my creatures as much as possible. I don't like taking on the extra risk. I like trying to draft as much as I can, of course, cards that stand alone and stand on their own. But this one is so good and so over the top that that's the one I would take. All right, I am told that we are now ready to go back over to the booth for the second to last round here from the World Magic Cup. Let's send it there right now.